All right, welcome to Live Saga TV. Maybe just a 20-minute live stream. After a moment of observation from here and there, there is sense to talk about this, and maybe I'll get time to do a 1 hour reaction tomorrow. For now, let me do a short one just to go through what has been shared on different platforms, but this is my perspective. What I feel is like there is a lot of effort put towards the fight on Gachagua. I wonder why. Previously, it was a fight on Gachagua and maybe Natembea. But then a lot of force is actually being placed on Gachagua than anybody else. Does it mean they understand that he's the kingpin among all the people? Because actually I don't understand why people would deny that he's not, but at the same time attacks from left to right. So guys, let's get into the analysis of the incident of Sunday or there. Of course, there have been controversial statements coming from different forces. Kiomburi has said that's a plan they used to have with Gachagua. And remember, Kiomburi at some point was found in a coffee plantation, and the indication was that he had been abducted. Now, the first person we saw in hospital visiting him was Gachagua, right? And that moment, so many people are confused whether it was an abduction or a kind of sly move to avoid the court cases that were pursuing him. Now, after him, we also got to have other people who were abducted, and the same narration came out with the court chair saying that some people are abducting themselves. And of course, J.B. Muturi came up to say his son was abducted, and the only help he got is when he called the president one-on-one. Now, all these are complicated matters. Somebody says complique, kila kitu is complique. Indeed, that's the reality. But then, what is surprising is there is a mix of stories, you know, like Gachagua coming out and revealing numbers of so many people, where they met, how they came about this, how they came to attack. And he mentioned so many other places, and this is quite surprising for me, because I'm like, you were attacked, and within the shortest period, you are able to give the list of people. Of course, with the intelligence around him, given that he worked as a DO and he has so many people around him that are working day and night, it might be possible. But then how quick, you know? Like, I'm wondering, do we have a DCI team in Gashagua's group? Because how did they come about with all this information just at the moment when you're attacked? Because biologically, I understand when somebody is attacked, they are supposed to lack coordination. They would not be able to give some details. Now, of course, I want us to begin with a quick analysis on the last video. When Gachagua addressed the nation in a press release, this is what he had to say. So I want us to go to that, then we can come back and see. What is your thought? Yeah? What is your thought? What do you think? What is happening anyway? You know? So I'm just looking at it, and I'm like, if this is a real attack, indeed, Gachagua is on the lowest end currently. Because if they are able to attack, and he has come to a panic mode that he's now saying his life is threatened. But at the same time, we have people are brushing it aside and saying that he created it. Of course, one of them being Kiomburi, who was very close. We've also seen Wamuchomba, who was very close to Gachagua, especially after impeachment. She cried tears, you know, and she's coming out to say that that is a lie or a sly game. And I'm just mixed up because I don't understand why is that happening. Ndova, welcome. Now, the other person who has spoken against this, of course, we have seen the former leader of Mungiki has spoken also, and strongly supported the government instead of supporting Gachagua. Then we saw this other guy I want to bring him here, of course, saying something. But before that, let's just listen to what Gachagua said. And of course, we also saw Matiang'i coming to react on the same and indicating that if indeed the government believes that and Gachagua organized for the goons, then they should just move ahead and act instead of verbatim. And we also had something from the CS of Interior insinuating that people had been sent to his office to attack. And I'm like, what the hell is happening? Sangu Sangu, welcome. So let's look at this, listen to the video first, and then we proceed.
They were in an Nissan Matatu, KDR 467N from Namu Shuttle. XN 467X from Namu Shuttle. These are the people who attacked the church, and they had AK-47, and we have corrected some cartridges. 7.62 millimeter, they are here from AK-47, and they had come to kill, and they were being for our blood. And people have been left in anguish, wondering why their own government can turn against the Church of Christ and turn against leaders. I've heard Mukomen saying that they are going to investigate. How can Mukomen investigate himself? How do police investigate themselves? These people came with a police vehicle, GK vehicle, GKB 765X, and another one from our police station that ferried goons and police officers from Muraga.
All right, guys. So, as Gachagua went on to explain all these things, we have others who came up to say that he had framed the entire thing. They also indicated that the goons were his own. They were also used in Better North. So this information becomes very confusing to a common citizen like me and you, you know. And that is why Matiang's statement that if they know that Gachagua planned, then they should act. We shouldn't see exchanges between the government and Gachagua. Now, this is not the first time Gachagua is coming up with such a press release. He has done this several times, and he has indicated that the many times he has been attacked, nothing has been done, you know, and regardless of the faces circulating online, nothing has happened. Now, there is another information coming out indicating some of those. All right, so of course I just started and I realized that I have bundles. I don't know what happened. I thought I had taken the shortest time possible and I was going to conclude this before it was over. But before I knew it, the internet was already low. So let's try maybe to use what is available to check out on this. And as I was saying, the fact that we have had different pictures coming up online, we expect that maybe soon or later the government should deal with these people and arrest them. But it has become a custom, maybe, that people do mess up here and there in the government or within the quarters of the government. And there are people who can actually handle this, but it's never handled. So you wonder why people attacking, for example, can be seen on camera, but there is no action taken against them. So while some statements are coming out, especially from Kiomburi, among other people, in fact, somebody was asking, why is it that all the time Gachagua is only attacked in church and nobody else, you know? That is one of the most absurd questions that has been raised. The other one is, why does he think he's the one that can be attacked and not any other party? Those are the questions that are being asked. But then, looking at the pictures and videos of what happened on Thai, it's so shameful for us as a country to actually experience this in moments when we call or we talk about democracy. I just want to show some pictures here from NTV, of course, something that was released very soon, but it's a credible source. So let me show this and let's see.
Sasa msururu wa mashambulizi katika ibada wa wahalifu, watu wenye silaha kufyatua risasi na kurusha vitoza machozi madhabahuni si jambo la kawaida. Ni taswira inayofananisha maeneo ya ibada na viwanja vya vita. Siasa kufikia kiwango hiki ni hatari kwa usalama wa taifa. Katika kipindi cha miaka miwili iliyopita, mchezo wa kutupiana lawama umetamalaki. I've got this press briefing after the very violent attack and assassination attempt. Upande wa Gachagua unaituhumu serikali kwa kutumia polisi na magenge ya wahalifu kuwanyamazisha wakosoaji. Kwa upande mwingine, viongozi serikalini na hata maafisa wa usalama wanakisia kuna uwezekano wa mashambulizi ya kupangwa kupata huruma ya wananchi kwa manufaa ya kisiasa. Wadadisi wa usalama wanatathmini serikali inastahabu kuwa na kasi ya kutoa taarifa kwa umma badala ya kuharakisha uchunguzi ili kuwatia mbaroni waliohusika. Tukirejelea kumbukumbu, matukio haya yalianza mbali, tukiorodhesha baadhi ya visa 7 alivyotaja Gachagua. Januari 25 mwaka 2026, Othaya, Gachagua na viongozi wa kanisa walilazimika kutorokea nyuma ya ua baada ya vitoa machozi kurushwa ndani ya kanisa kukiwa na watoto. Novemba 30 mwaka 2025, Kariobangi, Nairobi, waumini walizongwa, kunyongwa na kufunikwa kwa moshi wa vitoza machozi katika ibada, wengine wakijeruhiwa wakati wa patashika. Licha ya washukiwa 7 kukamatwa, waliachiliwa kwa kile polisi walichokiita ni ukosefu wa ushahidi. Aprili 6 mwaka 2025, Mwiki, Kasarani, Nairobi, vijana waliovalia sare zinazofanana na za kijeshi walivamia harambee wakiwalazimisha waumini kujificha kwa usalama. Walinzi wa Gachagua walilazimika kufyatua risasi hewani kuwakabili wavamizi. Disemba 28 mwaka 2024, Shamata, Laikipia, kopo la kitoa machozi lilirushwa moja kwa moja kwenye jukwaa la viongozi mashuhuri, huku mshukiwa akidaiwa kuwa afisa wa polisi aliyekuwa amevalia kiraia. Kesi hiyo ilikwama bila cha maana ya kuripoti. Novemba 28 mwaka 2024, Limuru, kaunti ya Kiambu, genge lenye mapanga na nondo lilivamia hafla ya mazishi na kuvunja kioo cha gari la Gachagua kwa jiwe kubwa. Hadi leo hakuna aliyetiwa mbaroni. Tumeandika waraka kwa Inspekta Jenerali wa polisi Douglas Kanja kuomba ufafanuzi wa mfumo wa amri uliotumika Othaya, ushahidi wa madai ya maigizo na sababu za kukosekana.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has been attacked more than 11 times in just a year since he was kicked out of office in October 2024, with over 90% of the incidents happening in churches. His violent attack yesterday at a church in Nyeri County adds to the long list of incidents where the DCP leader has been tear-gassed and his life threatened by individuals he believes to be state-sponsored militia. And as Emmanuel Toh now reports, the promises by the government security agencies to arrest culprits has been nothing but hot air, with no report of a single arrest 24 hours since the brazen incident yesterday.
Sunday, January 25th, at the ACK Church in Witimo, Othaya, Nyeri County, the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is whisked away to safety after tear gas canister is lobbed into the church by hooded men said to be police officers, disrupting a church service that was underway. Several police officers in civilian attire are captured walking around brandishing guns, others firing indiscriminately before disappearing into thin air under the cover of this cloud of orange gas. In a statement issued late on Sunday afternoon, the National Police Service said they had launched speedy investigations into...
How speedy can investigations be in Kenya? Because if this thing happened on Sunday and today is Monday, we are almost coming at midnight. I wonder why there's nothing that has been concluded on this. Now, it's unfortunate that actually the real vehicles that were seen in the place included the police vehicles. Could Gachagua really organize to use police vehicles and government vehicles in this case? However much he is being condemned, or rather blamed for whatever happened. There is a lot of darkness around this. And of course, this is the lowest moment for Gachagua, because after the impeachment, they thought maybe he could keep quiet and stay away. But then it happened to be the worst decision ever, because he came up to attack or possibly revenge, which is not also a good choice to make as a leader. But now it seems that things are beyond control, and therefore the decision is simply assassinate or do away with him. And now all these attacks, 11 attacks on one person, even if they were to fabricate on their own, it just looks too much. Would he really go and attack a church and allow tear gases to be drained into the church, and then even still have to borrow the clergy some clothes so as to escape? But then my question is, how did they make it to collect some of the arms that were used during this attack? According to what one of them told us, the Dhangwa, he said that he was able to drive to the place and found one vehicle that was attacking people in town. And on arrival, he alerted Rigathi Gachagua on what was happening, only soon for the vehicles to arrive and begin tear gassing the church. How brutal can we turn to an extent that we want to eliminate even people who are going in church? And remember, a church is a place where people go to worship and even clean themselves for the sins of the week, and also offer their gifts to the Lord. So, if indeed we are a nation that trusts in God and wish that God will lead us in our ways, why would we then go to such an extreme? A situation whereby we can traumatize worshippers not to go to church anymore. What would be our country turning into? When the other day, of course, the president was found guilty of constructing a church, and he argued against it, saying that there is no problem in building a church for God. And of course, at some point, funds were also denied by the Catholic Church, something which brought a lot of fracas between the politicians and the church. Now, all our eyes are directed towards Odhaya case, and we would actually long to see what decision IG or even DCI in Kenya will do. If all this is going to be covered and kept quiet, then we are sure we are not safe in the nation at all. But if something will be done, then we will be able to understand that there is some sense. Now, this is the second time IG is actually being accused. And of course, if you listen to the speech that has been shared by Matiang'i, there is a lot of heavy information that has been relayed. He claims that it is the police that are accepting to be used in dirty businesses when they should be protecting the citizens. Whom do we listen to? Should we listen to those who are blaming or those who are actually sanitizing? Let's check on the church leaders and what they have had to say.
Agencies to suppress the opposition. The church leaders are calling for stern action against the officers who are engaged in the mayhem. Haman Kamariki reports.
Religious leaders across the country have urged the government to stop deploying security agencies to intimidate the opposition. The remarks come in the wake of an incident in which police lobbed tear gas canisters into a church in Nyeri during a service attended by former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua.
Yesterday's event evidently shows the use of police vehicles. To be precise, 2 were used, and one registration number GKB765X was accompanying matatus from a certain circle, which were ferrying goons to the church.
It is very unfortunate. It does not matter whatever side of the politics you belong to. You have your own right to move freely. You have your own right to attend any church you want, any freedom you want. But we want to be able to send the message to him that let us be very careful on what we say.
The president of the Baptist Churches of Kenya, BCOK, Reverend Bernard Obuya, has appealed to President William Ruto to intervene.
All right. We shall end shortly because there is a blackout, particularly here. There's no power. So bye-bye for now. Till tomorrow.